Hi everybody and welcome to my new video, and I hope you're all really well this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever time you are watching this. As you can see, I'm rocking my kind of Heidi cat Princess Leia look today. We'll go with that. But yeah, I started an idea for this video and I called it 5 ways to stay wild and witchy. And I don't often write things down for my videos. I'm much better usually at just talking, but I thought if I'm going to make some points, then I'll write them down. So I started writing them down, and we have 22 ways. And I'm sure I could go on, but I kind of capped it at 22 because it's meant to be 5. So I've got 22 ways to stay wild and witchy, and I have got them written down because that's why I don't write things down, because I'm good at flowing. Remembering things is makes me nervous. So I wrote this list and thought about this as a video from my experience, and believe me, I've probably done the opposite of most of these things, which is why I've written it. And these are very personal things, so you may find they don't work for you. They may find there are other ways that you remain and stay and become wild and witchy. And after we've been through the video, I'd love to hear your ways, and please put them in the comment box below and we can have a chat about it. But it came for me when I realised there was many ways that I was compromising myself and making myself small for other people, out of fear of situations, and I thought, sod this. And so I thought, well, it's empowering to talk about ways of being wild and witchy and just an empowered, gorgeous human being. And I think we can easily forget our magnificence, we can easily forget our wonder, and these are really simple ways, but some of them are complicated, as in they take the work. But without further ado, I will begin the 22 ways of staying wild and witchy. I begin because I'm sure I'll explain the whole thing as I'm going through, as I'm making these points about the 22 ways. So firstly, and hugely, know yourself. Know yourself. And that may seem really, really simple. And you might be like, Laura, I spend every day with myself, pretty sure I know myself. But we are queens and kings of distraction, aren't we? The things we'll do to avoid really seeing what's going on with us. We'll get addicted to TV shows, other people, we'll think about gossip, we'll think about someone we have been involved with, someone we want to be involved with, we'll think about work, we'll find fears to focus on, because we prefer that often to actually going, well, who am I in here? What do I really want? What do I really like? What do I feel? What am I holding on to? So there's so many, ways of avoiding that, but knowing yourself is the lifelong task. And to be fair, if you know yourself, then you've got the rest of this in a bag, really. So number 1 and number 22, I think, kind of encompass the whole lot. So knowing yourself, how do you go about that? Being honest, finding times in the day to be honest with yourself, to journal. Not so much maybe today I did this and that was nice. To journal, okay, this is going on right now, how's it making me feel? Basically, constantly, or not constantly, but regularly checking in with yourself. Regularly checking in. Am I okay? How am I feeling? Am I waking up in the middle of the night panicking about stuff? Am I really alright with these things that I'm alright about? Yeah. No, checking in. What do I really enjoy? So getting to know yourself like you'd get to know a partner. Think of yourself like going on a date with yourself. So I would totally advise going and taking yourself out on a date. I would strongly advise that. Take yourself out for a day trip, a date, and really find out, like, talk to yourself or treat yourself like you would if you were really wanting to get to know a lover, and you really want to find out about them, and treat them with that same interest and awe. So treat yourself with the same awe and interest as you would with someone you would love to get involved with, because we very rarely do that. And think of ourselves how maybe another would see as if they were in love with us. So that's, to be fair, that's a really big thing and something we can work on. And please do journal these things, put them in your book of shadows, your journal, whatever you have. These habits and reflections are hugely important to your life, to your magic, to your happiness and connecting with other people. So 1, know yourself. Number 2, say no to things which compromise your heart. So it's hard. These sometimes come from things where we feel we ought to, we feel we should do something, we feel like work's asked me to do this, I need to pay the bills, so I guess I ought to. And I'm not suggesting you tell your boss to go and do one. I'm not suggesting you say, no, I'm not doing anything. But I would just check in with how damaging some things can be when you go, all right, and you feel smaller and smaller, and something in you gets squished and squished. So say no, give it a go with things that maybe aren't totally groundbreakingly important to you first. So maybe somebody asks you, do you want to go to this party? And you're like, I really don't feel like going to this party, but so-and-so thinks this. Maybe just say, actually, this is compromising how I'm feeling right now. No, I'm not going to do it. And just see how saying no to things, not in a way where you're being a grump or limiting yourself. I think it's always worth, because sometimes you can say no because it's a pattern of hiding away. Sometimes it's saying no because actually you don't really want to do it. So practice saying no, and then the things that are harder, like signing a contract you don't want to sign, or putting it with behaviour that's really damaging to you, you're going to be more clear that you can say no, and that the more you open up that space, so say that the squishing happens when you say, yeah, that's all right, okay, I'll do it. You feel squished, squished, squished. Well, I do. I don't know if you guys do, but I do. How about feeling how you expand when you make space for the right things for you, and you say no to the things that are going to compromise your heart and soul? So yeah, big stuff. Like, I'm starting off with the big stuff. We're going to have some fun stuff in a minute, but I'm starting off with the big stuff. Number 3, this is for the Brits that are terrified of this kind of thing. I was talking to a guy, a European, on the continent guy, and this is mainly a Brit problem, I think. I don't know what you guys in America or Australia or Canada have about this, but I think it's particularly British that we get scared of this. So, get comfy naked. Oh yeah. Titillation is the thing we have in the UK, that nakedness can only mean sex. And of course nakedness can mean sex. Fabulous, wonderful. If you're naked with someone you're attracted to, or you're feeling sexy, awesome, wonderful. Yeah, but that's one huge category, but not the whole bag. Being you is being naked and being comfortable with yourself in your skin. And people are probably going, reeling away from the TV set now, or the computer screen, going, please, Laura, no. Gosh, no. I don't want to look at myself naked. I don't want to get used to myself naked. I don't like A, B and C. But getting comfortable with yourself, not in front of anybody else, like no one else has to be around, but spending more time in a day just being naked, and maybe being more relaxed with the concept of being naked, that everyone's got bits they don't like about themselves. There's even some amazing YouTube channel where there's supermodels saying how uncomfortable they are naked. Like, it's not reserved for people that don't feel perfect. I think everyone has this issue, and I'm not saying don't feel like, oh, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that, but just be relaxed in your skin. Get comfy naked. How can we be witchy and wild if we're like, don't look at my thighs? And this is a big one, because a lot of us have image issues, and I've had an eating disorder when I was younger, when I was about 14. It was a bad one, and yeah, we have a lot of issues around self-image, and I think this is one of the biggest cages we get put in, that we are afraid of our own bodies. So getting comfortable naked, do something if you're feeling brave. Like, I did a photo shoot naked outside, pretty much naked, not fully naked, but pretty much, and I found it really liberating. There's no judgment, there's no, oh, don't look at that bit. I just found it really liberating and just so good to be out with the trees. And there was this little wren above me, and the wren was like tweeting around, being wren-like and beautiful and loud and tiny. They're not going, oh gosh, she's got no clothes on. They accept you as you are. The birds, the trees accept you as you are. It's only us who have got really funny about nakedness. So yes, it can be sexy and amazing, but it isn't the only purpose of being naked. Just being comfortable with yourself. Get comfortable, experiment, just sit around naked for a bit when it's warm and just go, you know what, it's okay. We don't spend much time of a day without our clothes on, usually. So it's worth getting comfortable with ourselves naked. Don't have to look in a mirror. I'm not saying look in a mirror. Could be useful, but don't have to. Just being with yourself. So that's 3. 4. So I'm going to read them because I forget lists. Get out of the box, feel the fear and push through it. Again, a big one. And routines that make us feel very uncomfortable. Well, comfortable, but uncomfortable in our comfort. Like, we can maybe stay in a job too long because it's comfortable. We can stay in a relationship too long. We can do the same routine. Like, I don't really feel like going out, but I'm just going to, you know, I'm scared of making a change in my routine, so I'll just stay the same. So again, experiment with the small things. What is a little bit different for you today? It could be something like going to a different coffee shop to your normal coffee shop. It could be wearing a different colour to your normal colour, a different style dress or t-shirt, changing something small, trying that class. You know, you feel like, oh, I'd like to go to that fencing class, but people might A, B, C and D. Give it a go. Get out of the box that and we all do it, even if we kind of have practiced it, following our own path. We all get stuck in our routines, and they can be very closing down for us. So you can see so far the things I'm looking at are things that will contain us and put us in a false sense of smallness, and staying in a routine that isn't serving us is going to definitely do that. So write all these down if you wish, and give some of them a go. Get out of the box. So what are you feeling that you're a bit stuck in? For me, I think I can get stuck in my own habits, as in I've had a lot of things changing recently, so I have had things blasted out of the box, as it were. But I think maybe I know this is how I work. I'm self-employed, so I'm trying to restructure myself, but I can over-structure myself and not give myself the flexibility or freedom. So here's one. Okay, so number 5 is, if you have a disability, then there's going to be different things you can do around this. This is only if you're physically able, and if not, there are other ways of working around it. So number 5 is dance more. So dance not for somebody else. Again, this is, well, if you'd like to do it for somebody else, this is wonderful, but it's not necessarily for somebody else. This is for you. This is to put the lights on low, maybe light some candles, get some incense going, and put a song on that's going to be maybe a bit tribal, a bit empowering, a bit sexy, or a bit crazy, you know, whatever you like. A spiritual song, a song that makes you feel good. And move the hips. Don't even worry. Like, close your eyes. Do it, combine it with number 3, get naked and do it. If you wish, like, I'm not suggesting you have to, just throwing ideas out there. Get the lights low, just shut the door, get into a sway, just move your hips side to side, just allow yourself to follow the beat. It's so freeing, it is so freeing, and I often find that dancing can release a lot of blockages that we hold, especially about our self-image, about what we believe to be true about ourselves. Dancing is exceptionally healing. If it's not accessible for you to dance, then, you know, if there's any part of your arms that you can work with, just swaying, even just kind of swaying side to side, getting that movement going, this is really, really positive. And if that's not accessible to you, even just visualising the movement, watching a candle flame flicker and move, and visualise, you know, meditate on that. So different levels, obviously, do what feels right for you and what is comfortable for you, but some kind of physical movement. Dancing is an exceptionally ancient, powerful and primal way of really connecting with ourselves and letting go of our inhibitions. Huge, letting go of our inhibitions and just becoming our true self. It's not about dancing to impress someone or getting the moves. It really is just moving and following a beat or following something. So 5, dance more. 6, climb a tree. So I like this one. You can hug a tree if climbing a tree is not accessible for you as well. So tree hugging is also something that we work with here. It's not just about climbing, but I like to have adventures climbing trees, and remember, do it safely. I don't want anyone falling out a tree, breaking their neck and going, Laura, you said climb a tree. A small tree, you know, a small tree. A tree that you are comfortable climbing, or one that's not going to be too frustrating for you, or scary even for you, like you're going to get up there and feel like I'm stuck. I did combine number 3 and number 6 and that was fabulous. So climb a tree, have an adventure. It doesn't have to be climbing a tree. I'd say definitely say hug a tree. Start with giving the tree a good hug, always, but keep that spirit of childhood adventure alive. So that could be, you know, going on a beach walk and exploring that path that you haven't been on before. That could be going on a woodland walk and going, I'm not going to stick on this normal route, I'm going to go explore off-road a little bit. Again, be safe. You've got common sense, you know what you're doing. Just make sure that you're doing stuff that's safe for you. But keep that little bit of adventure alive, that you're doing something a bit different. So I like climbing a little tree. One that I feel safe in because I don't want to feel stuck. Help! Call the fire brigade because the Laura cat is stuck in a tree. But yeah, keep the spirit of adventure alive. And this is not massive. This could be massive. Could be booking that holiday that you wanted to go on, that adventure. But I'm just saying, maybe taking that different path through the woods, or taking that beach walk you haven't been on, or climbing a little tree, and maybe or climbing some rocks. Be safe. Be safe. But you know what I mean. Keep that spirit of adventure alive. Number 7, go outside at night, look at the stars, have a nice cup of warm cocoa with you, or, you know, get by an outdoor fire, but wonder at the stars, wonder at the planets, spend some time, warm and safe, just looking at the stars in the sky. And if if you're living in a city where it's hard, there's sometimes observatories you can go to. So I know that's the case in London. You can go to different observatories, so you can have a look through the telescopes and stuff. But if you're in a place where you can see the stars, yeah, that's a great way of keeping wild and remembering, putting things in perspective, isn't it? Looking at the moon, looking at the stars, spending some time adjusting your eyes and allowing yourself to see more, and allowing yourself to wonder and your mind to wonder at what is out there and the size of the stars and the planets, and just feel your place in the universe. And doing that quite regularly really puts the day's issues into perspective, or really makes us see the bigger picture, that we can process things more clearly. So go outside at night. Again, always be safe, but you are having our spirit of adventure. We're keeping wild and witchy, so I'll put wild and witchy, bracket, keep safe. 8, express your heart creatively. So this doesn't matter if you can't draw, this doesn't matter if you can't sing, or you can, by the way, everyone can sing. You know, it doesn't matter if you, and everyone can draw too. I've taught people to draw. I've taught people who told me they can't draw to draw. As in, I haven't taught them, I've given them the tools that they know to unlock the fact that they know they can. But you could really, you don't have to do this in a way that's on a piece of painting. It could be you could express yourself creatively by cooking something beautiful. You could express yourself creatively by gardening. You could do this by making a collage of all the things that you feel in your heart right now. Feel it in your heart. Yeah, make sure you do this regularly. This is a prime way to keep healthy inside, This is a really prime way to keep healthy inside and to keep wild, awake and inspired. The ideas that come through when you allow your creative brain to play are absolutely magnificent. So make some space. This could be in your journal. You could be expressing yourself in your journal. You could be writing something which is really, really important to you. Expressing yourself creatively keeps me sane, though we may argue I'm not sane, but keeps me basically. So find your ways of expressing yourself in a creative manner. Find your ways of making sure your heart and your soul and your personal dreams and ideals are being expressed. Don't have to share this with people, but you can, but this is just for you, for your self-expression. Number 9, you know this, okay? You, pointing, are more than lovable enough as you are. You don't need to change to be loved. So I want you to look in the mirror today and say this, that I am more than lovable enough as I am. Or I'm more than lovable. I'm just more than lovable. I'm beyond lovable. Beyond lovable, that sounds wrong. But just know that you are lovable, that you're more than enough. There we go, that's the right sentence, isn't it? That you're lovable and that you're more than enough just as you are. So know that. I think the thing I said originally doesn't make amazing sense, but that you're more than enough and that you're lovable as you are. Play with that sentence, make it right for you, but remember that. Not when you've lost this weight, not when you've achieved that work goal, not when you've done this, got that perfect photo or whatever. Totally and utterly, 100%. Mantra every day, that you are lovable just as you are and that you're more than enough. Okay, number 10, find your element. So, this is all the elements, be in the elements. For me, well, we all have more, my primary element of choice is fire. And so I am a fire dancer. I channel my energy and I connect with fire. So I you might have seen some of my fire dancing stuff. I can always post them if you haven't. I'm a fire dancer. I work with fire fans and fire swords and fire palms, and I fuse belly dancing with fire performance. And I am never more in the moment than when I'm working with fire. There is just, I'm alive. I am connected. I'm not thinking about anything else apart from this channeled power, this respect and this element, and flowing and working with that element. So and fire gives me power as well, so I feel great after I've, usually, unless I've burnt myself, which is, you know, but I feel great working with fire. I also like being in the ocean. And I think it's horses for courses, isn't it? Like, fire can be your main element, and for certain reasons it can make me just feel wow and powered up. And then water is something that I need to be with on an emotional level. I need to be with the wild waters and in the ocean. So it's finding your element. You could be someone that likes to be walking in the winds up on the top of a hill. You need to feel that breeze on your face. You need to be out in the open and have the air rush across you. You may need to be in the forest, close to the earth, doing something with your hands in the earth. I love all of these things, but you need to. But no, there's no need. But it's good to find the element which does different things for you. Fire could be like, you know what, I don't want to touch fire. That's absolutely fine. You might feel water is a bit overwhelming, but you feel absolutely amazing when you're kind of really working with the earth. So find the element that works with you, for you, and how you work with it, how that makes you feel, because it's a very, very powerful healing and empowering tool. So find your element. You see, I've got a lot to say, haven't I? There's not 5 here, is there? 11. Follow the cycles and the seasons. So as a pagan, this is probably quite a natural thing for you to do, but we can always forget, like I've been following this path for eons, and we get a bit complacent. We forget maybe that it's full moon, or it's new moon, or dark moon. We forget really what cycle we're in. We know we need to celebrate the seasons, but we're doing it almost out of autopilot rather than experiencing them. So just check in with yourself that you're really following those seasons, that you're really connecting and working with the seasons, and working with the cycles of the moon. And if you're a woman, maybe working with your own personal cycle as well. And for guys, you probably have your own cycle that I don't know about, but you work with that. But yeah, working with your own cycle, working with how you're feeling at certain times of the month, working how you're feeling at certain times of the year, looking at your birth chart and seeing how your rise and fall of energy goes as the year goes around, connecting with the seasonal festivals, really connecting, being out in nature and feeling the energy of them. No matter how many years you've worked in a pagan path, it's always good to really go over those real basic feelings like we did when we first began, that we really spent our time, our first year as a pagan or a Wiccan or whatever we did, exploring the elements and exploring the seasons and attuning ourselves to them. So it's good to put this in your journal as well, how you're feeling at different times, how different seasons affect you, how this particular moon cycle is for you. Really reflect on these things. We've got number 12 here. Okay, switch off the logical brain for a while and trust your intuition. This can be very easy for some people, like I'm the opposite. I need to switch off my intuition. No, I'm joking, but I switch on my logical brain. Keep my intuition working, but put the logical brain on sometimes. But often we overrule our intuition because we're so busy A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And we knew that was wrong. We knew we weren't happy. Why did we do this? Because we didn't listen to the very strong messages our intuition was giving us, because our brain was saying, you need to do this because you need money. You need to do this because this is safe. You need to do this because blah, 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 blah. And of course, if it's safe for you, stick to it. But if something is not feeling right and you're constantly getting yourself into wrong situations because you've trusted the logic, as opposed to what you feel, then maybe experiment with trusting your intuition. And again, start in a small way. Maybe start with, I really feel like doing this today. I should do A, B, C and D. Maybe for an hour, I'll do this, you know, and to see how that shifts your day. I feel like taking this route to work today. I don't normally, but I'm going to give it a go. Just see how these things work for us. Just give this person, I feel very drawn to. Maybe I'll go and say hello to them, you know. Small ways of trusting your intuition and experimenting. I feel like wearing the colour green today. I never wear green, but I'll give it a go. Small ways of trusting your intuition. Listening more is a great way to trust your intuition. Just taking in, listening, and just sense and being really aware of how things are and how you feel. Think of the High Priestess card. She's quite quiet, but she's allowing and she's listening. Okay, we've got number 13. One of my favourites, well, they're all my favourites, but practical one. Drum. Do you have a shamanic drum? If not, why not? Drumming, but if not, it doesn't have to be a shamanic drum. We can work with something else. We can create a drum, we can create a rattle, you know, it doesn't have to be anything expensive. But drumming is a primal way of connecting with our true selves, also with our ancestral line, with the really basic but important, powerful energies in our lives. It shuts off the chitter chatter and takes us into a primal place of power. And I think as humans, we need that a lot. So when I drum, I'm often more centered afterwards, I'm more calm, I'm more aware of what's going on. My head isn't allowed to tell myself stupid stories because I'm too busy drumming, but I'm also working on because drumming actually changes the brain waves a little bit, changes the brain patterns. Drumming at a certain rate can do that quite significantly, which allows you to go on a shamanic journey. But this is very useful to kind of shift out of our anxious brain or our to-do list brain and get us into actually what's really going on. Drumming is also fun. It can go hand in hand with the dancing one, and it can be something which you use to raise your own energy, because that's what it does. It really helps to raise our own energy. So if you don't have a drum, you can always borrow one from someone. You can go to a drum circle near you, give the person a call beforehand, because if you don't have a drum, you can often borrow them from the facilitator. So there's always ways around it. If you're not sure about drumming and you want to give it a go, if you do go to find out a local drum circle, usually the person that's running it will have a few extra drums for people that are new to it that would like to give it a go. So that could go hand in hand with a bit about getting outside the box and giving something a go. So drumming is a really powerful thing, and there's so many subsections of how drumming can help you, because it's such a powerful tool for really connecting with ourselves and connecting with our wild power. Number 14 is finding your voice. So this can be literally connecting with the throat chakra and singing, screaming, shouting, expressing. Again, this is not about having to be a good singer or necessarily be in a place where you're using your voice to sing for other people, but it is expressing through your voice. In a lot of spiritual practices, using the voice through chanting, through umming, through songs, through prayers is such a powerful thing, and using your voice to vibrate your energy and how you're feeling is a huge energetic, vibrational, freeing way of working. So we keep ourselves quite quiet sometimes. We talk a lot, but maybe we don't express what we really mean, or I find it really hard to let go from the throat chakra because we're not singers or we're not A, B and C. But it's really important to find your voice, to find a note which resonates with you. Even if it's just one note, one tone that you're releasing, that you're singing with, it's really, really beautiful. So find your note, maybe spend some time, maybe after meditating or being in a natural place, where you just hum or you just gently start singing and allow that to grow within you. It's not about being good, it's about freeing the energy which is in your throat. And feeling the vibration run through you. In Buddhist practice, there can be the retreats where you go for 10 days, 2 weeks without speaking to anyone, which is very, very hard. And what the resounding thing that comes out from after it is the power of the voice, how speaking vibrates through your whole being, and the noise you make, and the power of words. So actually being silent for a little while, recalibrating and then expressing something can be really, really beautiful and powerful. But that's an option. But maybe singing and releasing your throat chakra, because your throat holds so much. The things you haven't said to people, the things that have frustrated you, all these things can be held here. Don't have to say it to these people, but find a space to release. Maybe in the car or in the woods, let it out. 15. Spend quality time with animals and wildlife. So we can get very human, can't we? We can get very much in our own world of phone and work and laptops and life, and we've got our pets or animals around us, which sometimes pat while we're watching Netflix or whatever. But actually spending quality time with those animals, seeing how they are, not just projecting our stuff onto them, just sitting with them and tuning in with them energetically, seeing how they are, what's going on, tuning into their energy. It doesn't have to be your own animal. This could be an animal you meet in a farm while you're out on a walk. It could be just being aware of the dogs you see when you're out in nature and with, you know, on a walk. But if you do have an animal around you, a hamster to a horse, so just going, oh hi, snuffles, and spending the rest of the day just moving on. Spend a little bit of time regarding them, connecting with them on a heart level. Animals work very strongly on a heart connection. So sort of really expand your own heart energy and just see how they're feeling. Being out in wildlife, maybe volunteering at a nature or wildlife reserve, or spending time walking in nature and wildlife places, and walking in awareness that you're here to connect with the wildlife. You're here not just to kind of be in your world, which I do as well. As I said, I do most of these things, but to expand your awareness to the world around you. See how much you can see and hear and sense. Really expand your vision and your senses to everything around you. So healing, so grounding, and so just bringing you back to a very healthy space. And also I think your pets would like it if we all spent more time just seeing how they are and just feeling and just observing and spending time with them in a way where we're not putting our stuff on them. So that's a great way, and definitely being out in the wilds and just connecting with the trees and the animals that you see, the birds above you. Just watch them, regard them, see how they are moving and how they live their life in different cycles of the year. All these sorts of things. I've done 16 already in the climbing the tree one. I just put be a tree hugger, but I did put that in with the climbing a tree one. But I'll put for this one to be a tree hugger, that actually being kind to nature. Maybe this is also about recycling and using less plastic, being aware, not being strict and hardening yourself and doing unattainable goals, maybe cutting down on certain things which are hurting the environment. Because if Mother Nature's hurting, we're hurting. It's inextricable, you know, it's the same. In some unconscious level, if we don't feel it, we are in some pain because we are destroying the planet. So, or we're putting pressure on the planet, or we're not being respectful of Mother Earth. So, just making conscious efforts to maybe take the bike rather than going on in the car, or cutting down on plastic, recycling, do whatever you need to do, hug a tree, talk to your plants. So I have a plant here that needs a bit of TLC, so I feel guilty of that one. But be more aware of how you're interacting with the environment, and know that you are totally interlinked with it, and that small efforts you make are making a difference, and it is worth it. So I'll change the tree hugger one to just being a general eco warrior or eco aware, and this is no guilt trip. This is just doing small things which will improve the quality of your life and the planet's energy. So we have 17. Put my list over here. Accept your unacceptable side. Love your shadow. So there's a few ones in here that are lifelong things. So the first one is know yourself, a lifelong thing, because you're always going to be changing or finding new levels of stuff. And this one is, and also I think, you know, being comfy with your body as well can be for a lot of people a big thing. But accepting your unacceptable side, it's huge. So even though I'm making these bullet points, each one of these things is a lifelong mission, but just making the effort to do these things. I'm not expecting me or you to do yep, I know me, I know my shadow, I'm good, but it's being open to the change, which is the wild, is the magic, is the power. Being open to this part of me that I have put in shadow that I don't want to deal with. It's not often a terrible part, it's just something we've rejected or that we felt was unacceptable. If I bring that back to me and I welcome it and I work with it and I connect with it in a safe environment, and this could involve counselling, therapy, or being in a healing centre, or whatever it could do, like just get the help and advice and the guidance, because that's a really powerful thing to do, to ask for help. But working with accepting parts of you that you don't want to look at. And you'll know those things because maybe they are habits that always happen to you, cycles that keep happening, attracting certain partners, behaviouralist stuff that keeps happening that you're not happy with, or things you notice in other people that you don't like, can be shadow stuff coming back to you. So work on it. Again, these are just ideas to connect with. You don't have to do all of them in one go. It's pretty impossible. But begin the work of accepting your unacceptable side, the part of you that you pushed away and you feel is not to be seen by the light of day. And this could take healing and counselling, and this could take a lot of help. And please, I've had all these things, so I know that these things are very important and very deep. So take the opportunity to get help if you need. And it's not a bad thing. It's really brave, I think, really brave to ask for help. hugely brave. It's easier for people to go on and pretend they're fine and keep making the same mistakes, upsetting people and doing the same old thing, and actually saying, you know what, I don't want this cycle to continue, I would like to make a difference. That's huge. So begin some shadow work. Now, Kelly and Maddox has a great load of videos about shadow work. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube about doing shadow work. I'm not going to go into it fully, but just those bits of you. For me, there's loads of bits. I don't want be a very long video, but there's bits I'm really going, you know what, it's okay to accept that, and it's okay to be this person. It's okay. They're not horrible things. They're just bits of me that I didn't feel were acceptable. They were too much. They were too sensitive. They were too open, so I pushed them down. So working on accepting those parts of you is really powerful and absolute magic, especially if you are in the dark side of the year, like I am in the Northern Hemisphere. It is a time of the shadow work, and it's a time of going in, and it's a great time to party as well, but balancing it out with going in on those dark nights and just thinking and feeling and exploring. You can do that with journaling, creating a journal for these feelings as well. Okay, I'm now going on a long time, so number 18, only meant to do 5 points. 18, count your blessings. So on the other side of shadow work is just saying, you know what, okay, I'm dealing with all of this, but I'm really grateful for that free coffee I got today. I'm really grateful that I got to cuddle my cat this morning and that I saw the lovely frost out there. I'm really grateful for having this opportunity to speak to you guys. So what are you blessed with today? Count your blessings. And if you're really good at counting your blessings, you do gratitude stuff, dig a little deeper. Obviously you're grateful for your family or your friends or your partner or your cat, but how, maybe dig a bit deeper for finding things that you're really grateful about. Like, go a little bit deeper with that, finding something that you don't naturally take for granted or don't naturally go for, like the free coffee or the way that someone smiled at you today, or whatever it might be, the way you saw nature changing outside. Counting your blessings is hugely important, and especially if you're doing the shadow work as well, we can get a bit way down, and just to keep that balance, counting your blessings, keeping a diary of it, writing it down, saying it out loud. Great. You can do it with your partner or a friend. You can say what you're happy with in the day. Say what are you pleased with today? What's made you happy? Number 19. Retain your innocent heart. What I kind of see is there's this outside bit, and there's a part of you, a core, that is beautiful, wild and innocent. And you may feel that whatever's happened in your life, that's been damaged, that isn't. But going back and finding that spark of innocence and joy and boundless enthusiasm and optimism, that spark that might be hidden between lots of disappointments, that side of you that loves to play and run and explore and wonder and go out in nature and explore the woods, that likes to feel the Christmas energy around you and just get excited like a child. Those parts of you that, maybe people find as cynical in this day, it's so important, especially on a spiritual path where you'd be open-hearted, to retain the innocent heart and to retain that connection to the things that make you feel free, and with that boundless love and enthusiasm and optimism. So finding ways for you that is possible. What inspires you, what makes you excited, what makes you feel really bubbly up inside. If you're having a really hard time, it can be very hard to feel those things, but maybe just doing little bits of them, just going out in nature, even if you can't feel that feeling, you're still getting that sense of the healing coming through. Number 20, laugh. Lots, hard, sillily, stupidly. Never miss opportunity to have a nice, genuine, loving laugh, and cherish those friends and those moments that make you laugh. So a big, raucous, wild laugh can cure, at least momentarily, many ills. So finding the light side of things, finding the funny side of things, keeping your humour, finding a friend that you just have such a love of silly things with, it shakes up the energy. So I see some of these things are quite easy, and some of these things are a little bit deeper. And some of the little things you go deeper, face something you find uncomfortable. What was I thinking writing all these things, hey? So maybe it's a task that you've been putting off. Maybe, because I find with me, again, always personal, if I put something off, which I do, I'm fabulous at putting things off, if I don't want to do them, it builds this wall, a hard wall of heavy coldness that gets stronger the more I avoid stuff. How can you be wild and free if you can feel this weighing down on you? So don't have to do responsibility stuff all the time, but maybe chip away at some things slowly, face those things. And it's a very powerful warrior thing to do, to face something, however silly it may seem to other people, however small it may be, or however huge. To face something you find uncomfortable that you need to deal with and look at, and just give yourself that time, and then make sure afterwards you treat yourself to something really nice. So face something uncomfortable, have a nice hot chocolate. Yeah, balance, whatever. You might not like hot chocolate, I love hot chocolate, but whatever balances this out, you're freeing yourself, and I'm freeing myself by doing that. And last but not least at all is know your worth. Okay, so don't undersell. And I do this, we all do it, but it can be a work situation again, where we kind of want the job, so we will accept lower standards because, you know, we don't want to lose a job. We allow people to be away with us, which, you know, I think with work that can only go on for a certain time before we kick up. With relationships it can be hard. You know, you can have someone that you really care about and they don't treat you in a way which is honourable to you, and it's complicated, isn't it? Because you love them and you want things to be a certain way. And you can always love someone, but you need to know your worth, and you need to know how amazingly beautiful, powerful, strong, magnificent you are, and that you are worth loving and you're worth the effort. And you need to be worth, you know, to know that you are worth loving within yourself, and you are worth making the effort for yourself. And other people will mirror that and reflect it, and if they don't, they do flake away in time. But knowing your worth is one of the hardest, biggest, amazingest ones. It goes alongside with knowing yourself and knowing your worth. But it's a huge one, and we can get in situations where we think we know our worth, I'm fine, and then someone comes in and then chips away, and then before you know it, you've really felt that you've been pushed down. So gently and lovingly know your worth, you know, and write this down. Write down some of these things, and write down positive things about yourself. Maybe make a list. What I found last night was this letter that it's part of a course. I would never do this voluntarily, I don't think, and I'm really glad I did do this, but I was made to write a love letter to myself. We've been in so many all day, and I was made to write this love letter to myself. I cried when I read it again. I found it a few years ago, and I found it because it was so beautiful and passionate and loving and understanding, and it was how if I would write to somebody if they were amazing to me. And it's made me cry because it made me realise it's not how I think about myself or how we think about ourselves as a general. But if you think, you know, if you think about someone you really love, you'd be passionate about them. Why can't we do that to ourselves? And I was like, wow, okay, know your worth. And on that note, I will leave that list, and I hope that there's been something there for you that's been useful. 5 points and 22 points. I know some big stuff there, like, and it may not work for you, and you may not find these things accessible for you. And I have not done all of them to the full degree. I'm exploring them constantly in different levels, but they're points to remember if they work for you, that can remind you who you are, what you're here to do, and what you're here not to put up with. And when we forget, when we get stuck in a rut, to drum, to find our voice, to move, to remember that wildness within, it unleashes so much power, so much energy. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you all really soon. Please put any of your points down below. I'd love to hear what you do to rewild, to remember that you are this beautiful, wild, gorgeous, amazing person, when the world is sometimes not giving you all you need to feel that way. And take care, guys. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.